Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you're having a great week working on iLearn Day 17 and 18. Today, I want to go over a little bit of new content with you that you're going to be studying a little bit in your packets, but just kind of want to go over it in a little bit more detail. It's called the water cycle, and we're actually going to create a model that shows how water cycles throughout Earth. So, to start off with, I would like you to take a look here at this image that I have here on the screen, and I want you to think for a second. Why do you think the Earth is called the blue planet? Just get some ideas in your head. Okay, so some ideas that you possibly could have thought of will be you see a lot of blue. So you're probably thinking, okay, well, the Earth got a lot of water. And if you were thinking along those lines, you are correct. The Earth is actually covered with 75% of water. So the Earth's surface makes up that a lot more than land. And these white clouds that you see on the Earth is what's called water vapor, because water can go in clouds. We know that there's three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. And we know that when you look at water, you can change water to a solid via ice, liquid form like what you would drink, and then a gas. So you think of that. Um, Water is everywhere. Water can be found in bodies of lakes, rivers, oceans, in plants and animals. It's in the air, it's in the ground. Water is everywhere throughout Earth. So, when looking at why the Earth is called blue, we're going to study more in depth what's called the water cycle. And the water cycle is literally the constant moving of water throughout the land, air, ocean, and living things. Okay? Water moves constantly. Even though you may not be able to go outside and see it, it's moving. Okay? So, with the water cycle, there's some terms that we need to know called the atmosphere. And the atmosphere is literally the layers of gases that surround the earth, commonly called air. The earth has different atmospheres, which are just different layers, and the gases go into that, and the water actually seeps into the atmosphere as it's moving and completing this cycle. The next term we've got is what's called condensation, and this is when the liquid changes from a gas state to a liquid state. So the water goes from a gas to a liquid. Okay, so if you could probably think about that, that's going to be when gas is in the clouds, the water's in the clouds, and it starts raining on us all of a sudden when we're outside playing or doing something like that. That's what we say is condensation. Um, Evaporation is when it changes from a liquid to a vapor or gas. So water is coming up from the pond or the ocean. It's being evaporated and going up into the atmosphere. And then lastly, we have what's called precipitation, which is the rain, snow, sleet, or hail that falls from the clouds in the sky. So you have this taking place. Okay, so when looking at this term, I want you to think about what's called evaporation. So water is moving. Okay, the evaporation, it's changing from a liquid to a gas and it's moving. So I want you to imagine yourself for a moment that you're on the beach. It's nice and it's sunny and you're out playing and catching the waves. Well, during this time, evaporation is actually taking place. And the ocean is made up of salt water. It's not just pure water. So even during this evaporation, the water molecules are being evaporated. They're evaporating up towards the sky, but the salt portion is staying behind. Okay, so we see that taking place. Now, when looking at condensation, this is when the water evaporates from the surface of the land and it's rising up into the atmosphere. Okay, so the higher it rises, the more energy it's losing because temperatures in the atmosphere drop. Okay, so the temperatures are not as hot up in higher atmospheres as you would think. So the water vapor is losing energy and cooling. So that's when it changes from a gas to a liquid to start forming the small droplets of water that we see that eventually form into what's called precipitation. Okay? Now, Looking here at this image will kind of help you see a lot of things here. You're seeing a lot of things going on, and I want to kind of just touch base on them for a few minutes. The first thing you've got is you've got this pond of water, and in this pond of water, you've got evaporation that's taking place. Okay, so it's evaporating up. The sunlight is producing energy to help with that. So it's evaporating up to form what we call condensation. Okay, condensation is starting to form. After this condensation, it sits in these clouds, okay? Then what we see is precipitation starts to take place. Precipitation being our rain, sleet, snow. These water droplets are now falling back down. Okay, so they're all falling down. And you can notice that it's going to come from all different things. Evaporation doesn't just come from a pond of water, it can also come from living things. I would encourage you, as a quick science experiment, to go outside while you're enjoying your time. Take a plastic bag, stick on a stick it on a plant and tie it up. Okay, you're not going to harm the plant because you're just going to do this for a few minutes. And observe every 15 minutes what you see on those leaves as you're watching. You're going to notice that water is coming up from plants too. Okay, so it's not just groundwater, lakes, streams, ocean. It's not just from that. It comes from living things too. Okay, so in taking a look at this, okay, and that's what we call transpiration, we're going to actually look and create a model of the water cycle. And to do this, you're going to need a few things. So if you want to gather these things up, and then I'm going to get ready for part 2 of the video. But you're just going to need a big, large bucket or bowl, a ceramic mug, so a coffee mug, a pitcher of water, plastic wrap, and then some kind of string or rubber band. That's all you're going to need. So these are things that you can probably find around your home. So gather those things, and we'll be back momentarily, and we'll get started with our science experiment for the day.